the University of Siliwangi, at the Faculty of Health Science, for this great invitation. I am very pleased to be or participate in this magnificent seminar. Sorry for my engagement late for long this conflict. And I would like to give my special thanks to all the organization committee, all my friends, all my students, all my colleagues who are sharing with us in this great seminar. Doing health research in pandemic and post-pandemic era, I will address this subject from the reality of my practical experience, and I hope the common benefit for all of us. Unfortunately, humanity fights viruses just begun. COVID-19 starts a war that affects all aspects of life. It affects economy, it affects politics, social life, education, and also scientific research too, especially the health research. So the effects of the war of COVID-19 pandemic or any other pandemic have challenges on one side and opportunities on the other side. This study published in February 2021 revealed the effect of the pandemic on the family context and the female researchers, who found that the female researchers, parents in general, especially mothers, have affected by the pandemic in the context of research, as you can see in this graph. But it's a challenge on one side, but it's maybe an opportunity. They have time to more spend the time for working on home or spend more time with children. So it's maybe opportunity on one side and a challenge on another side. So to start this our journey with any researcher, let's go in a train trip or journey with researchers to find the challenges and opportunities at different stations of scientific research cycle. The researcher's journey begins with the problem selection station and progresses to objectives statements through strict literature review, which generate and research questions that researcher make a plan of methodology or methodology plan to reach the answers of these questions at the end of his trip. So we will present this plan to an IRB or ethical committee to approve him to go with the field work, and he will after that collected data in the field work, data analysis, and then the final station for him is reporting and publication. This is the journey for any researcher of us. So let's start with the first station. The research problem selection and objective statement has changed due to the pandemic at the level of priorities for researchers in choosing new health problems for new research purposes, which is completely logic. If we follow the research history of a certain problem like pneumonia, you will find easily the big difference in the pandemic era compared to the pre-pandemic era in the number of topics published in this area of science. But on the other hand, when we track another disease like urinary tract infection, you will be easily notice that there is no big difference in pre-pandemic and post-pandemic or pandemic era. So the priorities for researchers logically to be different. On the other hand, also the funding opportunities. This rush for research has many limitations. One of them is the funding resources, which limited under the effect of the crisis of economy during the pandemic and other lot of issues. So this is a meta-analysis or meta-research. Critical appraisal reveal the differences of interest and priorities for the researchers during the COVID-19 pandemic. So we can categorize the research or health research during the COVID-19 pandemic into main three categories. The first category is the new research directly related to the COVID-19. And second type is the ongoing non-COVID-19 research. And the other new non-COVID research, which is still appear or still novelty will appear on time. The challenges on the level of the ongoing trials and novel non-COVID-19 it's many in reality, but the main of them is risk-benefit assessment. When you are a researcher, which research you can continue with or without a change, or you must stop or hold it until the era post-pandemic. What about the feasibility of the protocol's adherence? What about the enrollment limitations? And also new trials challenges for the COVID-19, the COVID-19 trials, which is novel for us, make us in challenges too. What about the pandemic-related research, which has the priority now for treatments, for example, or data collection or another aspects as we will see now. Okay, the second station of us is the study methodology station. We will when research interests change, the research methods used to support them must change as well. So urgency for reframing our study methods to make them more appropriate is a must. Three important methodology points related to challenges and opportunities we will focus on: the study setting considerations, the participants considerations, and the data collection tools consideration also. So the challenges which related to the study setting I experienced in my work was the inaccessibility of research fields, the limitations imposed in the form of knowledge production, lockdown policies, encouraging researchers to improve their technical literacy and abilities, and also the effective communication in the whole research cycle. Actually, this study, we do it in Damietta Governorate, which we wanted to examine the role of the chest ultrasound as an exploratory method for diagnosing pneumonia in suspected cases of COVID-19, and how to apply this in light of low resources settings during the pandemic and the lack of the CT machines and many centers. So we enrolled the suspected cases from our university hospital triage, which was admitting with non-COVID-19 cases according to the government emergency plan. But the completion of the diagnosis and the treatment was in another hospitals designated only for COVID-19 patients. So it was necessary to track the suspected cases until the final diagnosis to correctly estimate the ultrasound screening validity. So I want to thank my surveillance team who track their patients, and our surveillance team who have played an enormous role in the first wave of the COVID-19 pandemic in close contacts tracing who isolated at home. So the second point is the participants' considerations in the study methodology. Study participants' considerations versus the study completion. Study participants also have many challenges. One of them is the safety of trial participants and their families, which have a more priority and more importance. What about the awareness of them, of those participants? They can told or they can screen themselves or can discover the symptoms and be aware to knowing or give this information to the team who work on them in the research context, or even have a history of case contact with case COVID-19 case. If they aware to report that if the hospital or the setting of the research has a triage to manage them or have a plan to manage them or not? What about patients from high density of COVID-19 areas? They attend or not attend? And all patients you will enroll, or the interventions which is life-saving only you will enroll them. So remote research usability methods was the great solution for that. So remote research methods have problems on one side and opportunity on the other side. The opportunity was the flexibility of remote usability methods, as we will see now. But on the other side, what about the security of information? What about the high or different speeds of internet connections? What about the importance of some certain areas on your research or data collection, like you may have to see the body or face or eye movements of your participants to be able to collect real and accurate data. This is limitations. So the opportunities for quantitative studies was much bigger, and we use and it will help us in the post-pandemic era, I think. Online and phone surveys utilizing free or paid online survey tools have been used. Digitalization of traditional research methods and the big data methods through text mining and social media analysis, which is promising part of science. Actually, I started to learn it 1 week ago. I think it's very, very important for us as researchers to deal with this part of science. Okay. Other opportunities on the qualitative studies was the online interviews and focus groups, and I think many of us may use one of these techniques or one of these remote approaches. Photo, video, voice data collection using smartphones, mobile methods for capturing social life interactions, or even our experiment outcomes. So the teleconferencing applications for online learning is important, and we use it on research also. We are actually using one of them today. So it's a great opportunity. So the innovations of enrollment for patients, like the web forms of screening enrollment and the self-reported outcomes. This is an example for web forms for screening. You can easily use a remote data collecting or screening tool to guide your participant. Either he will come or not. Are you coming to visit today? Yes or no? Have you traveled to a high-risk country in the last 14 days? Yes or no? And then you finally found your answer. You will enroll him or not. This is magnificent application launched by CDC for self-reported outcomes related to the COVID-19 vaccination. COVID-19 vaccinated persons engage in this application, and they will report their daily side effects, their daily circumstances, health-related life issues, and so on. So it's a big opportunity to make an easy database, which filled with the participants themselves. So it's a very, very innovation. But on the other hand, the transitioning of research mechanics not good at all time, because it has many drawbacks. One of them is the misinformation about unethical promotion and professional behavior, and you will need skilled users to filter this informations. So it's a huge drawback actually. So now I want you to share me with your experience through the poll, and I will open it now. So we can how has COVID-19 affects your research? Very little. I was already conducting my research online. I had to stop all my research. I moved all of my experiments to online. I moved all of my experiments to online. I have no, I don't have research. Okay, we have about 1/3 of our participants other affection of research. I want them to share us this experience on the comment section or the chat section if they can, to have a benefit all of us. Okay. Okay. I think all of participants maybe students. Yes. Sorry for that.
Yes, Dr. Ahmed.
I have
Pardon?
a problem. Okay, sorry for that.
Okay.
Reshare again. Okay, the results changed now. About 1/4 of our participants have, sorry. About 1/4 of our participants have already conducting their research online, and about 1/5 of them moved all of their experiments to online survey. I want to thank you very much for participation. So you in this study included 611 responses from students and researchers. Its results near to our results now. It's have about 1/3 of participants moved their experiments to online platforms and starts others. So I am impressed. Okay, the next station of our journey. Sorry. The next station of our journey is the proposal submission and ethical committee approval. What was reported in just 2 years of clinical trials for COVID-19 disease online, about 700 trials distributed over the countries of the world, as you can see. Out of a total of about 350,000 clinical trials, which registered in this website, clinicaltrials.gov, since its creation during 1997. So it's a huge number for only one disease, as you can see. So this make a challenge for research ethics committees during the pandemic. So the European Network of Research Ethics Committees in April 2020 administrative processes for reviewing research protocols and guide all the ethical committees to accelerate and simplify the process of protocols reviewing, especially in the context of the treatment, prevention, and diagnosis of infections caused by SARS-CoV-2. But this acceleration or simplification not on the quality, compromise the quality of the review process on one side, and not on the safety of the participants on the other side. So this is a big challenge for all of the ethical committees, which have actually large number of proposals presented and fewer number of staff members who can review this great number of proposals. Other drawbacks or challenges for or was on the ethics committee's shoulders was the handling of specimens and patients, importance of regular screening for the hospital or the research setting itself stuff. The ethical concerns about the telemedicine, which is new for, I think, most of our IRBs or ethical committees. So it's a big challenge for all of us. Okay, so the WHO launches an modification or ethical standards for research during a public health emergencies during 2020, which is have modifications from their guidance, previous guidance during 2016. So also NIH the American Institute of Health, also launched some changes on their reviewing processes. I think one of the most important changes of them was the review of multi-centric studies. The study, the study which conducted on multiple sites have to have approval from all of these sites, IRBs or ethical committees. But during the pandemic, you only use one, or you only have to have a single IRP approval committee or certificate. So from this start, many countries start to change their standard operating procedures for their IRBs or ethical committees, like India, Irish, Switzerland, and also many other countries. On our national context, on our local level in Egypt, the Egyptian Network of Ethics Committee, headed by the Professor Azza Saleh and the wonderful coordinator, Professor Hani Slim, have a great role in this critical time. Our NREC in Egypt included 72 Egyptian ethics committees. So to overcome these challenges, the NREC starts to do workshops for training of more members, which have done, and they actually play an important role in helping all the Egyptian committees during this critical period. Our experience in the Damietta Faculty of Medicine, Al Azhar University in Egypt, are also changed our standard operating procedures for reviewing on some contexts, like meetings, agendas, the setting, the number of staff who the meeting will be launched with, and many other issues. Okay. We have now reached to our final station in the scientific publishing, which considered the goal for every researcher. No doubt, the most important step in scientific research in publishing is the peer review. So what reviewers provide in journals for research to ensure the strengths and the superiority of research is estimated at billions of dollars, actually. Billions of dollars of time all peer reviewers spent all days to give us this huge topics and knowledge articles. So it's an incredible effort, especially in the time of the pandemic. The average days of research review before the pandemic was more than 120 days, which was reduced by almost half during the COVID-19 pandemic. When you compare it to any other pandemic like swine flu, for example, it may took more time, actually, more than the normal life before the pandemics. Here I want to ask you to share me with your knowledge about this point again. And okay, please, my colleagues, what is the preprint? A version of scientific manuscript posted on a public server but not printed in a hard copy yet. A version of scientific manuscript posted on the public server prior to formal peer review. I don't know. Please share with me.
Shall we do it now, or can we do it later?
Okay.
Dr. Ahmed?
Okay. I'll pass it.
Okay.
Okay. So there is the preprint. The preprint, actually, the version of scientific manuscript posted on a public server prior to formal peer review. So this in this slide you can see the COVID-19 papers. How much the COVID-19 related papers in compared to other papers on all the scientific research during the area of January, March, on the beginning of the first wave of the COVID-19 pandemic. We can also know that the preprints have around 1/4 of the scientific articles that relate to the COVID-19 preprints, was a major number. So rapid review, increased number of preprints which is not reviewed, and publication rush, and the many other causes. You can read it in +1. A retraction after publications will occur. So increased rate of retraction was due to these issues, the rapid review and the publication rush and other many causes. You can read it. So to summarize our journey today, the fundamental shifts in research ethics and peer review in era of the COVID-19 pandemic, reframing the research design, adapting methodologies to study type, transitioning research mechanics, changing research methodologies, overcoming the data collection obstacles, upholding some research standard and ethics, maintaining informativeness and social value, providing a guarded peer review flexibility. These all we talked about, and I was so happy in this journey. And the question now, after the pandemic, are researchers still the same or not? And the answer is yours. I hope our journey was interesting, informative, and not boring. Get off the train safely. With my best wishes for more enjoyable trips to come. Many thanks.
Okay, thank you very much for the interesting presentation, Dr. Ahmed.
Thanks.
So we are now in our discussion session. To all participants, if you have any questions, please do not hesitate to ask. You can open your mic. I mean, you can raise your hand first, or you can also write down your question on the chat box. Please do not forget that you also need to write down your name and your institution. So I guess now we have one question, if I'm not mistaken, to the committee. Do we have anyone who can help us to share the questions? Okay, as far as I could read, we have one question here from Mrs. Nurjana. The question is to Dr. Ahmed. I experienced the problem of conducting research during pandemic. I had to amend the protocol, change the data collection, and even intervention methods from face-to-face to online. The problem, I also had to change the subjects because the low SES subjects have limited access to internet and gadget. So I changed to higher SES subjects. Do you think that it's kind of inequality problem of doing research in pandemic time? Do you want to answer this question right now, Dr. Ahmed?
Yes,
please.
I read it again. Okay. Okay, there is no problem, I think, because you any modification you can make on your proposal, but just you will inform your ethics committee, which you have your approval from it, and any modification is acceptable, but you just may have a rationale for this change, and this is not problem for your approval. I think I answer your question or not.
Okay, to Mrs. Nurjana, do you have any feedback?
Hello. Hello.
Yes.
Voice.
Yes, please.
Thank you, Dr. Ahmed, for your response. I think in the pandemic area, we do many research online. We make the low economic social status people have no chance to be our subject and to be our to have the intervention from our research. So I think maybe it's like a kind of inequality for people, for poor people to have access to study, especially in the social study. But I think I know that it is the consequence of the research, and yes, we have approved from the ethical board. It's okay, but I think it's like a kind of inequality for the poor people. It's my response. Thank you, but thank you for that, for your answer.
Yeah, yes, I will add at you another issue. The inequality not on the poor or low socioeconomic classes only, but also other ignorant persons who can't use ignorant not mean read and write, but also using this new methods for data capturing. If one who can't deal with these artificial or intelligence methods, they will not be enrolled in your online surveys, online studies. It's an limitation in many published articles, but you just mention it in the limitations of your study. Okay, your manuscript, you will mention this in your limitations of study. So it's okay.
Okay, I guess it is enough for Mrs. Nurjana. Thank you very much for the question. Thank you very much for Dr. Ahmed. I also felt like enlightened, because I also conducted study in online. I mean, yes, that will be one of our limitation for the research, and we have to write it down on our article. Yes. Thank you very much, Dr. Ahmed.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Do we have another question? Actually, I have one question. Can I maybe ask for Dr. Dragan? Are you still here with us, Dr. Dragan? Maybe. Okay, maybe he's not here. Is there another question? Or maybe for Dr. Nayara? No question? Okay, if there is no more question for our speakers today, I guess that will be all for our session. I would like to thank you very much and would like to highly appreciate for our speakers, for Dr. Dragan, for Dr. Ahmed Yusuf, and also for Dr. Nayara, who already shared with us today about their experience and also knowledge for us. Thank you very much once again. I would like to apologize as well if I have any mistaken, and I will give it back to our MC today. Thank you very much. That will be all. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you, Mrs. Novia, for guide the speaker presentations and discussion sessions. And also give our highest honor to all plenary speakers for insightful contributions. Once again, thank you very much. Well, now we come to the end of this webinar. And to close this webinar, let's recite Hamdalah together. Alhamdulillahirabbil alamin. Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much once again for your participations and your nice attentions. Tahtania Regita. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. And I remind to all participants may fill link attendance that committee has shared in the chat box. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Terima kasih, Mbak. Salam, pamit dulu. Assalamualaikum.
Terima kasih, Ibu.
Masih di-unmute. Sukses, Bu Mei dan kawan-kawan panitia semuanya.
Ya, Pak.
Pamit dulu, Bu Mei. Terima kasih.
Ya, Bu. Sama-sama.
Thank you.
Yang dari Arab sebetulnya mau tanya pakai bahasa Arab.
Izin live,
Ibu
Adit.
Bu Yuni. Bu, saya kok ketinggalan link presensinya, Bu.
Kita sekolah sekali 18 tidak apa lagi waktu yang kita mulai game pertama ini.
Yes. Itu ya. Gus pamit kok malah urung mati. Oke.